drinking my courage juice, which is Pepsi, vodka, rum, and I think I got bored and put tequila in here too. It's delicious. I'm getting ready for the St. Patrick's Day parade tomorrow. Hey everybody, I'm coming at you with this very beautiful Saturday. I just got back from a St. Patrick's Day parade. My throat is very hoarse. I was screaming, whooping it up, freaking drinking, throwing up, recovering, rallying, and I'm back. So I wanted to do my video on RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6, of course, Episode 3, entitled Scream Queen. Please excuse my voice. I apologize, but I was going freaking gay bonanza today, and it was a great day. So we pick up where the last episode left off after Magnolia's elimination, and the first set of queens are sitting in the workroom waiting for the second set to join them. And the way this thing is edited, it's as if the first set of queens are like sitting with stank face as the other queens are entering, but I kind of believe that they're just sitting around staring at the empty entranceway, and they're like looking at the door waiting, and they're being filmed, and as soon as the other queens enter we get the real reactions, which is the queens are genuinely excited to meet each other, but they're still somewhat apprehensive. So excuse me if I'm gonna be wonky. I drank a shit ton today, like freaking liquor, beer, you name it, shots, whatever. So I'm gonna try to do my best, but I'm tipsy as hell right now, so please excuse me. I'm so unprofessional right now. Shoot me. So, anywho, I kind of love the Bianca behind the scenes reactions when she's like, oh fuck, when she first meets the next set of people. And then there's his voice saying, look at these whores, though you don't actually physically see her saying it. And then they instantly cut to Gia behind the scenes going, excuse me? And it's as if she was offended. And the editors must have had like a really big task creating drama through their processes, because I doubt these are like the actual comments. And I doubt that these are the actual comments relating to them meeting for the first time, but they cut it together to make it look more dramatic than it really was. The workroom fashion for the first group is kind of interesting, with Laganja in like a huge green wig with what looks like green afro puffs. And Gia looks like an Asian housewife of like a wealthy fat American in her like pink mini dress. April, she looks kind of pedestrian, like a Puerto Rican actress in her like normal day wear. Vivacious looks like she's about to hit Mardi Gras with like a face mask and sequin outfit. Ben Delacreme looks like she's wearing her French chic outfit with like this huge brim hat and matching dress of black and white stripes. And Adora looks like she's like an 80s rocker bitch with tall stilettos, black mini dress, and like zebra fur jacket, and like big 80s rocker hair. So Trinity is like the first to embrace the other group, going, well, hello, hugs. And it's like an actual, genuinely nice moment for her. But she also thinks Dela could pass for like the Hamburglar's wife. And she's kind of clocking the black and white stripes. And it kind of looks like, a prison outfit. And then Laganja is like introducing herself to Courtney in her like same exaggerated, loud tone. And she's actually starting to annoy me, which isn't good because I pegged her to be in the finale, and she does her "come on, Natch," whatever that means, and Bianca is giving side eye because she's like obviously annoyed, and in the behind the scenes she calls the ganja irritating, young, and foolish. Um, and then the moment with Darienne and Gia, oh my God, Gia was life at this moment. She says behind the scenes, and I quote, Darian, you know, my God, there's room for everybody. Let's just say that. I fell on the floor and spit my drink out, and I could not handle it. It was so shady and inappropriate, but I was loving Gia at that moment. Another great moment is Adore and Courtney. They're remarking on their like idol days, and Courtney asked Adore if she was like on season one. Like she wasn't like that big time enough for Courtney to really know which season it was that she was actually on. And then behind the scenes, Adore like replicates the Australian accent like perfectly, and she's like, "Oh, we're playing that this year, bitch." And I get points for Trinity is like, "Ooh, reaction, like in the background when they're having this little conversation. And then Gia is back at it again, doing her, wow, you girls look good. I almost couldn't see. There was so much shade in that statement. And Courtney picks it up and reacts with her impersonation. And then Gia's like, well, I didn't quite cough like a man, but you all look good. Laugh out loud, raffle, LMAO. I mean, she was able to clock Courtney and the rest of the second group at the same time. And folks, we're like only 2 minutes and 22 seconds into the episode, and the shade is like getting flung around like poop in a chimpanzee cage. Oh, and then the shade ran up against the bigger shade when Gia and Bianca have words. And Bianca's like, now don't jump the gun now, Miss Kamora Lee Kardashian. And Gia's like, my name is Gia Gunn, and I don't jump the gun. I am the boom boom gun. And Bianca's like, oh, okay, you can handle it, you can handle it. But some of us, know how to throw it. KK. Round one goes to Bianca. She put Gia back in her place. Like, look here, young queen. Don't even try it. So back in the workroom the next day, we get like Gia doing some more shading. As she states, like she doesn't like cheap queens, she doesn't like messy queens, and she doesn't like manly queens. She's kind of like clocking the other group. And I have to remark that Bianca Del Rio has like the best workroom fashion, like in boy wear. I mean, a lot of the other queens they dress for comfort, and they're like in their sweatpants, and just like wow, do they even have any fashion sense? But Bianca, when she walks into the room, she like dresses like she's about to critique the runway of New York Fashion Week. Like Bianca knows how to dress in boy and girl wear. Oh, and I'm also pretty excited about Courtney because she finally gets in some shade when she says like there's going to be a she-male when they sit around waiting for the she-male, and she's like not the Gia kind. And I was like, look at Miss Blondie getting shade. And then it's funny after the she-male, Gia's going like, come on, scream. And it's obvious like her and Laganja are pretty similar in demeanor and even use the same catchphrases. Okay, and can I talk about when the she-males are going and like the reactions they have to perform? And I say perform because nothing seems natural or real about all of the queens, and it's like the producers tell them to ham it up, and it's getting kind of like for me. So the first mini challenge involved the queens teaming up with a member from the other group. So we had Milk and Adore, Vivacious and Bianca, Courtney and Laganja, Trinity and April, Gia, Joslyn, and Dela and Darienne. And what they had to do was like this campy beach sing along where one queen was the bottom and the other one is the top, no pun intended. And they formed like one person. So one queen is like the torso and the other queen is the legs. And it's pretty hilarious watching the bottom queen do the leg movements and the top queen lip syncing and doing the upper body movements. And Adore and Milk win the challenge, but there were some other great pairings too. Although I think the worst was Gia and Jocelyn because Gia's not the most campy or expressive top, and it's a stretch for her to even be in that role. And Milk didn't really tuck either because like Milk's attributes were like very prominent as Adora was lip syncing, and I think it had a good deal to do with how they won. And did y'all also notice when they were like woofing it up as the Scruff pit crew are brought into the workroom to present the bikini garments so the queens can make their costumes? And Miles Davis Moody like looks up, not looking impressed, and he almost looks like offended. I was like, either that was pretty good editing or he just didn't want to be woofed at. And also the choreographed who's the top and who's the bottom when Rue asked Laganja and Courtney, referring to the challenge, but this whole top and bottom play on words is going to get played to death, and I could already tell that from the beginning. And they both go, I'm the bottom. And then Courtney goes, oh yeah, I'm the top. And I'm like, it was like cheesy, like Chuck E. Cheese cheesy. So, like I said, the winners were Milk and Adore, which means they're the team leaders for the main challenge, which is to perform horror scenes from Drag Race Me to Hell, one set in the 60s, one set in the 80s. And not surprisingly, when it comes to picking teams, like each team leader picks the girls from their original groups. Okay, so I noticed as Rue is running and screaming out of the workroom that the brick walls are like fake backdrops, and like all this time I thought they were real. Like she runs and slams the door, and the walls go like this, and I was like, "Oh my god, my world is crumbling right now." So Adore hands out the parts, not really thinking about if the role is appropriate for the queens, and we instantly see that her choices are like not ideal. April has to play a butch lesbian, and besides like her shaved head, there's nothing butch about April. And then Vivacious is like the severed head, and she really wanted to be like the crazy mother, and she should have been because she's always like mother. And then she has like trouble with her lines, and she reads them with like a strange gruff voice. And then Gia, she's just like clueless no matter what part she gets. She's like no idea what a DeLorean is, and she's like, for all I know, it could be a fucking ancient dildo. And then I was like, wow, they didn't even censor that, which is like usually what they do when you get the uncensored DVDs. Like I wasn't expecting it like on this like online thing. And of course Laganja's worried. So the other team, and with the exception of Trinity, who eventually pulls it off, and despite being pissed about having the most lines and being an acting virgin, they're like leaps and bounds better and more prepared than Team Adore. And it's weird disparity between the two groups. And Dale is like the only one capable from Team Adore, and the others are like too green and new and unpolished, especially my girl Adore. And then Trinity gets offended that Bianca thinks it would be better if she played her character to be more sassy and ghetto because she's black. And this is a continuation of a constant back and forth between these two, it seems. And then Bianca's just pointing out that Trinity wanted to learn from everyone, but she gets defensive when they all give her critiques. So Team Milk goes first and slays the challenge. Courtney and Bianca are flawless, and they seem to nail it on the first take. Darienne is like fucking hilarious and hams it up as a severed talking head. Joslyn is amazingly good in her character, and she seems to be flying under the radar so far. And even Bianca gives her props. And Milk is so-so, and Trinity struggles with her blocking, and Rue even has to like get out of his seat to show Trinity how to face the camera. The other group could not get it together. They are unprepared, they haven't practiced, many don't know their lines, and then April struggles as the butch lesbian real estate agent. Gia plays a really ditzy person, but she plays it really well, but she isn't doing it on purpose. And Vivacious almost looks like she's giving up. Della is like the only bright spot, being the crazy mother, and Adore, when she gets her lines right eventually, delivers them greatly. But overall, this whole scene is a train wreck. It's funny when Michelle and Rue are critiquing Gia, and she has the blankest stare as if she's not even trying to comprehend the comments. And Adore is missing her cue and not remembering a stitch of the script. It was so bad, it was right. When Rue asked if Team Adore practiced their scene before they started the challenge, and there was like this dead silence, then Rue's like, well, obviously not. And I was like, damn, she just read them all. It was like the truth, and truth hurts. Let's talk about the shade that goes down during Elimination Day as the queens are prepping for the runway. Vivacious and Trinity are like discussing their style of drag, and Vivacious talks about drawing inspiration from the club kids in New York City. It was just funny, y'all. I like literally just passed out and woke back up again. But let's talk about the runway. The queens are supposed to present their best drag. So Bianca stressed down the runway looking like classic Hollywood glamour. She's very Joan Crawford-esque with like simple, elegant black dress with like a great silhouette. She has like this dramatic collar and a fascinator to complete her look. She was flawless. And then Courtney looks very put together in her like body hugging Australian flag dress with like mermaidish type like poofy train at the bottom. And she has like this nice blonde updo. It was pretty, but again, it was like not that daring. Jocelyn comes out in like a gold lame Grecian inspired dress. Her makeup looked nice and her hair was nice too, but overall, it didn't look like what someone would consider to be their best drag. And Jocelyn referred to it as her like disco party girl realness. And I'm like, it's Grecian. And then Trinity comes out like looking like the very next Diana Ross. She looks very Diana Ross-esque in her like tangerine colored evening gown, showing off like her pageant girl realness. Honestly, even though the dress was nice and she looked pretty, I was not like really wild for this look. I just didn't like it. And then Milk comes out and wore like a Pinocchio inspired outfit, and it's just like Milk being Milk. And like cue all the long nose equals like big penis jokes because they do it the entire time she's on the runway. Darienne looked pretty with her like sparkly dress, and she had like this pleated cape thing. It was it was okay. April's outfit was like a mixed bag for me. She had like this dramatic umbrella with the long blue strings to simulate rain, and that was amazing. But the actual outfit itself was just meh to me. It looked like it was sort of cheap, and she wore like a bra and like just little underwears underneath the yellow part of her outfit. And I thought like from the previews that it was gonna be like something more extravagant than it was. So I was kind of underwhelmed, but the umbrella was fierce. Then Laganja came out with like a Southern Belle type peach dress with flowers representing her collar and a tall butterfly hat, and her dress flared out at the bottom, but otherwise like the rest of it was form fitting. Okay, the thing I don't get about Laganja is what is her style? She's almost too varied. She goes from like outlandish marijuana inspired outfits to like hip hopish outfits and then to like this elegant one. And I don't know who the real Laganja is. It's nice to be versatile, but it's better if you're like versatile and cohesive. So Gia Gunn comes out with like full body catsuit with neon green and purple trim and matching like comic book Japanimation type hair. It was like something Jujubee or Manila Luzon would rock. Yes, I love Jet Noise. Like I said, it's something Jujubee or Manila would rock, but I wouldn't call it like a best drag look. Trying to get some bread to soak up all this alcohol. Adore comes out with her very tight, like form-fitting black shiny mermaid dress with her like Little Mermaid Ariel red hair, and she has some dramatic eye makeup. It was so for me. I mean, I've seen Adore in like far more elaborate looks, so I don't know if she's just like saving her best for later on the show. Okay, so Ben De La Creme comes out and she does her campy, cheesy, like Rockettes type of shtick. She's flirty, but like an old fashioned type of way. And she has this like pink one piece bathing suit with matching bows in her back end and on her head. It's okay. Sorry, my allergies will kick again too. Problems today. It's okay, but the outfit she wore when the queens are like meeting the other queens for the first time was way better, way more dramatic than this. Vivacious comes out looking like a red Godzilla. Thank you, Bianca. With black cones representing spikes, it was just like, I don't know. I wanted to love it, but I really didn't. So when it came down to critiquing, they started with the videos of them doing their Drag Race Me to Hell. And as I said, Team Milk kills. They all pulled through at least on their best takes. They're a far more superior group of queens on this challenge, and they all pulled their weight. Joslyn was a pleasant surprise. Trinity looked competent. Courtney and Bianca slayed. If they just team up like the rest of the way, like they're in the finale for sure. Like as a team, they're unstoppable. Darienne was good, and Milk was decent as well. And the other team though was a mess. And I can't believe that the take they used of Vivacious with that long pause, her looking so lost and dejected, I was like, that was so fucking shady of the producers. I mean, let's just torpedo Vivacious, why don't we? So Darienne wins the challenge, although Bianca or even Ben could have taken it. Adore's team gets bashed, and Adore is like red down again for the second challenge in a row. But just like the last challenge, Adore scrapes by with her charisma, and she's good TV. So instead, they put Vivacious in the bottom again against April. And April didn't even really deserve to be there, but she's kind of quiet and demure, and she doesn't really get rowdy, so she's not exciting TV. I can see why the producers wanted to put her there, so they can set up her elimination like sooner than later. They're also like trying to steamroll Gia too because she doesn't seem to be a judge's favorite, especially Rue. So they're getting their like scapegoats ready to throw away to clear the way for the fan favorites. So Trinity's probably in danger too, but she puts together some sick looks, so that's what's saving her. And can we just talk about Gia commenting that she found it funny that the first group was like in black and white and their group was, because they're set in the 80s, in color? And the producer goes, "Do you think it's because theirs was set in the 1960s?" And there's like the long ass pause, and Gia's trying to like digest this and comprehend it. And I was like, damn, we know who they want to get rid of. I also love the side shade Bianca is throwing as Trinity was hamming it up on the runway, apologizing for her performance. And I'm like, I'm with Bianca. I'm like, bitch, you won. Save that shit for when you need to defend yourself in a losing effort. So we get April versus Vivacious in the lip sync for your life, doing some Selena Gomez song I never heard of. And honestly, I think they were kind of even. I didn't even know how April beat Vivacious. I don't see what criteria Rue chose besides maybe it was V's second time in the bottom, and that's why she was sacrificed. But to me, they were kind of even. But Adore really gets clogged, and it's only a matter of time before they put her in the bottom. And I'm kind of shocked because in every other reality show, the team leader always goes down with the ship, whether it's Survivor or Top Chef. It doesn't matter. Usually, as leader, they're held accountable, and they probably wanted to keep her around for the singing challenge, which is next week. I'm like already getting a hangover, and my tipsy freaking head is trying to spit this out as fast as I can. So hope y'all are still with me. So let's talk about Untucked, my favorite part of the show. This Untucked is the first time we get all the queens backstage, and I was living for it. So, being the winning team, Team Milk gets to go to the Interior Illusions Lounge first, and you can tell this group mostly enjoys each other. It's fascinating when they're discussing who they think is in the bottom, and they say Vivacious, and they were wondering if the shady ass producers really used her best take, or they torpedoed her and put her best like onto the cutting room floor. These queens know what's up and what makes good programming, and they know when a target will be on their backs. I love Darienne clocking Bianca, asking Bianca about the other team's 80s makeup because Bianca has been around since then. And it's like an old person joke. And Bianca's like, Troll, you're older than I am. And it's funny, playful ribbing. And they just seem to be having a great time. In the gold bar, they have four pink boxes, and they each have to like reach in blind and feel what's in the box, which is kind of terrifying. And we find out Joslyn has a very weak stomach, and she starts gagging and throwing up, especially when Bianca feels her box and it's like cream corn in a diaper. And how about that shady moment? Darian reaches in and she's like, "Ooh, it's hard. It's Vivacious's lunch." And she pulls out like a turkey leg or whatever. And I don't know if it's like a fried chicken racial joke or a Godzilla joke, but I was like, that shady bitch. I love her. I almost spit my drink out when Jocelyn's like, "What if I reach into the box and it's a vagina?" And I'm like, ew. I'm like, bitch, warn me first before you start being that funny, because like I freaking spit my drink out. Can I just say Bianca is like really attractive when he is a boy, when he is Roy Hoylock. I'm like, that smile is everything, and those dimples. I'm like, hey boy. Oh, that was me being very gay. And it's funny when Milk's group talks about Gia and they find her rude, and Milk clocks Gia and her wonky eye, and I was like, bitch, work. And the group goes cricket silent when they're trying to think of something to say about Vivacious, and it was like the longest pause ever. And can we talk about the big ass bus Adore's group drove all over Vivacious? I love when they always ask who should go home. They always gang up on one queen. And even sweet little Dela, I was shocked. Gia and Adore, they were being cunty, and Laganja had crocodile tears. She's gonna cry and it turn everything around on her. And I just love Vivacious calling them hashtag shady apes. Was hilarious. All these young, brash queens like Adore and Gia are trying to school the veteran Vivacious. And Gia's going, yeah, right, yeah, yeah, every time Vivacious is trying to answer. And she was kind of turning me off this episode. And we all know I love Gia. And how about that Kai Kai talk in the gold bar? Darienne thinks April is gorgeous, and Trinity wants to tap April's ass because she's like an ass man girl. Yeah. And Trinity says Courtney is a hot drag person, and Courtney hides behind Bianca and calls Bianca her birth control. And these two are really clicking. If they team up the rest of the way, like I said, the rest need to watch out. Darren does not like Kai Kai, and if she had to choose between a Kai Kai and a gunshot, she would choose the bullet. Hardy har har. In the other room, Thela asks the door who she wouldn't work with, and she says Bianca. And then the other queens arrive just in time to hear that. And Adore repeats this time with the other queens in the room, saying that she wouldn't work with Bianca because Bianca's all about competition and she would sail her leader up the river. And Bianca's like, isn't that what we're here for? Every clown for herself. And then she clocks the door by going, and you are again? I was like, damn, Bianca is such a fierce bitch. And then Bianca mega clocks the door. They're discussing why they thought Vivacious was the weakest because Vivacious is more internal. And Adore says the other queens in her group are eccentric and full of energy. Then Bianca goes, it's funny how you're loud and all over the place, and yet you couldn't win an acting challenge. And then Adore tries to defend herself with the, I didn't say I was an actor. And then Bianca mega clocks. And with like, I'm saying is that if you're so full of personality in the workroom, apply it to the stage, bitch. Apply it to the challenges. Don't tell me about it. Adora could not even come up with anything, any type of response. Joslyn and Courtney and Darienne, they look uncomfortable. Gia's like blankly staring, or she's mad. I really can't tell. It's like her expression is so blank. I mean, like, come on. And I'm like, Bianca's gonna tear these little girls up. Okay, so here's my concern though about Bianca. She's a fan favorite now, and I live for Bianca. And she is so polished. She's so fearless. She's so talented. She flings the dirt and she's not afraid to say what comes to her mind. The audience loves her honesty. The others see her fierceness and always choose her near the first for group things. I'm afraid she's going to get fed up with the young queens and get bored of this whole competition because she is so much more advanced than the rest. I think she's gonna say one too many sideways things, and she's gonna get herself kicked off or just throw herself off because she honestly does not need this show. And she's accomplished in the 2 episodes what it takes almost everyone to accomplish in their entire run. She's established herself as the front runner. She hogs screen time. She's gaining a mass appeal, and she has a huge following. She practically does not need to win the show. She's out there more than she already was. She's made it already. Yeah, we want her to make it far, and the producers know she's great TV and might want to keep her for ratings, but Bianca does not need this show. She was practically legendary before it, and now she's bigger than ever. So I don't know what is going to happen with her. I hope she sticks around just to clock the girls, but like really, I'm digressing here. But I think Bianca's just gonna get bored and fed up with the amateurish nature of everybody else, and you can already see it in the workroom when she reacts to everybody. She's just like had it. So next week, like I said earlier, oh my god, my voice is like about to go. I'm glad I'm almost done. But next week is the singing challenge. You see the first 10 minutes of next week's episode if you have the LogoTV app from the iOS store, and they're really pitting Adore versus Courtney because they were the idols. Courtney on Australian Idol, Adore on American Idol, and it's going to be life. I cannot wait to see it. Cannot wait to critique it. So we just have to wait a little bit longer. Well, thanks for hanging out with me in my drunken, hoarse voice self on this Saturday, St. Patrick's Day Parade Day. And I will see you guys Monday for the next episode. Take care. I'm going to take a nap.
Don't forget, rate, comment, like, and subscribe.